Okay, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I don't know if this is episode 6 or 7. Do you recall?
Yep, we're on episode 6.
Okay, 6. Yay.
Woo!
So thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is Conversations with Two Medical Intuitives. I am Rebecca Roseberry, and we have the lovely,
Aw.
I'm waiting for you to say your name.
Oh, the lovely Erica Sloan and the
Yay!
amazing Rebecca Roseberry. I can't tell you how much I look forward to our Sunday sessions together. This is just,
It is fun.
it is absolutely. It's like,
And
go ahead.
no, this I want to I had a couple of criticisms of people that were watching our program, and they're like, I don't like the avatars. It bothers me. I can't focus. And I'm like, well, I'm not putting on makeup, and I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna do this if I have to worry about what I look like, and I like it.
Me too. I know. I texted you. I need 2 more minutes because I literally just jumped out of the shower and my
Yeah.
hair's all slicked back and got my cream on my face.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to make it about that. And the other thing I learned about what a podcast is, it has nothing to do with video.
Oh.
The origins of a podcast is all audio. So this is extra. I mean, this is to humor YouTube, but frankly, it's meant to be an audio. So I don't care.
Perfect. No, I'm right there with you 100% because already it's like it's my Sunday. And as
Yeah.
much as I love getting up and chatting with you, once a
Yeah.
month and everything, I was dragging this morning.
Aw.
So if I
Yeah.
had to get up and put makeup on and well, I love to shower anyway, but and just kind of get ready, it'd kind of be like, I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be too much. It's like too much like work. And I'm like, this defeats the purpose. Like it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, and it always is fun. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is about our energies combining, but I have like the cheesiest grin on my face right now. I'm just like, it's like, all right, let's get this shit done.
Let's do it.
Yep.
So today we are talking about boundaries. Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun.
I don't know why that makes me laugh. Should I be worried?
Say that again?
It's like, should I be worried? That always makes me laugh.
Oh, so do you want to all right, so let's talk let's define, or you know what, instead of us, I mean, I could rattle about boundaries, off the top of my head, but let's tune in and see what spirit says as what we're supposed to learn about it, or how we're supposed to use them. I don't know what, but I'd rather get higher intelligence than me just yapping about it. Do you
You,
agree?
you kind of are that higher intelligence.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, then we're all screwed.
Yeah. But if you'd like to ask, okay.
Well, yeah, I'd like I would like to get something, well, because this is a hot topic, and
Mhm.
there's a lot of, it can open up a lot of deep questions and issues that come up. So I just want to hear, let me just see what I get and see what you get so we can set a tone, because we also have a caller coming on in about 20 minutes or so, and we're going to talk about this specifically for her. So let's just set the premise for, some, I guess, foundation of what this word means.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what I heard was speaking your truth is part of boundaries, but being
Mhm.
okay. See, this is the tough part. My throat is starting to get a little crunchy, so there's something
Mhm.
there.
Okay.
Um speaking your truth, and then not, the difficult part is letting go of the reactions and the responses from others, like not having this perceived, because it's so it has something to do with feeling out of control or an issue with control,
Mhm.
that someone who has trouble with boundaries wants to control the reactions of others, which is impossible. So it would be a letting go of control.
Right.
You want to piggyback on that one? That's what I got just off the cuff.
Okay. As you were talking to, and as I do some of my best thinking in the shower where everything's just kind of clearer,
Yeah.
um, mindset came to mind.
Mindset.
Yep.
Ooh.
And being aware, again, of like you said, of who you are, what your beliefs are, and again, where your boundaries are. Because um, as you can see too, like mindset is super important. And if we kind of go back to um, like attracts like, and
Okay.
you know how you're seeing all these things now where um, books are being written or people are talking about you are what you eat, or um, you are who you surround yourself with. And so, kind of just speaking on a vibrational level, I know we're kind of going off, not necessarily off topic a little bit, but boundaries, I believe, are, your mindset is very huge.
Okay.
And
So
so,
you're saying like have a mindset prior so as not to attract that which is that what you're getting? Like set your minds that you're
yes, your mindset. And
yeah.
so, and how do we deal with our mindset? I mean, we meditate, it's going back to what you said too about knowing who you are
Yeah.
and having, that intention. Um, when you go out into the world, you know who you are. So if you happen to enter into a particular area or arena that, is very different from the core of who you are,
Yeah.
maintaining that vibration or that mindset of this is who I am
Okay.
will actually solidify the boundaries around you.
Right. We have this, I think that, people don't want to set their boundaries because of the fear of loss, or as I had picked up on, the fear of losing control, or, it's all of the fear that I'm going to be hated or ostracized, or people are going to be angry at me or rejected. I mean, all those, you go down the line when you talk
Hmm.
to people, and it's some form of that.
Okay. Do you think it'd be helpful if we define what a boundary is?
Yeah, yeah. And so my thought about my definition right now is just holding my truth, or holding that, yeah, holding my intent, or I don't know. All right, you tell me.
Um, it's funny. I'm starting to sweat here.
Ooh,
Someone who's working
now
very
we're getting
hard.
into some good stuff.
A boundary for me is how I would describe it is being able to stay in like your own homeostasis,
Right,
regardless of what's going on around you,
right.
and being able to walk through anything without outside influences disrupting that homeostasis.
Yeah, and is that even, it's close to impossible to be in a place of neutrality where you can hold that space and let the world like if you exaggerate it, the whole world crumbles around you. You're in your truth.
Hmm.
Everything else that you see around you from a 360 perspective is decimated, right? I'm just
Right.
exaggerating it on purpose. Okay.
Yep.
So everything is destroyed, but you're holding your vibration.
Right.
Is that success? Is that the goal? Is that what we're going for? You know?
You know what? That's actually a really good question because because
Right?
if you're standing there and everything around you is decimated and you're still in your homeostasis, I mean, does that take away our humanity?
I mean,
Do you
it's
know
a,
what I mean? Because like,
yeah.
in because part of me wants to say, yes, that's exactly what we want. That you are okay, regardless of what is going on around you. But in that extreme example, it actually makes me think,
Right.
if the world is totally decimated and you're standing there and yes, I'm okay, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm in my bubble. Everything's great, but everything else got destroyed in the process. What is the point of that?
Right. So it's funny because I think we're peeling back another layer on
Yeah.
what a boundary is and being okay. I don't think it's necessarily just blocking everything out and having good boundaries.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
So,
let's flip to the other, so the other extreme is, I think you and I can both relate, is where we're not in our truth for the sake of everyone else. That doesn't work
mhm,
either. So that's the other extreme, right? Like
right,
the people pleasing or not being in our truth to keep the peace or not make waves. That's the other end, and that's more familiar.
right.
So we have to, so again, so then if I just described a pendulum swinging from one side and now we just
Mhm,
went to the other side, we need to find homeostasis within that, the center of that. Can you hear,
right.
I just want to pause. My husband is fixing the lawn right now. Can you hear that?
I actually can't hear anything. No, I just hear you.
Okay, good. Then he can keep doing what he's doing, because normally I would tell him to pause
Hmm.
while I'm doing this, but okay. Um, so did you follow the image? What I saw in my head was we have everything is decimated on one end of the spectrum, the other end of the spectrum where like our boundaries are so weak and non-existent that we don't even know who we are. We're not being in our truth, and but yet everyone else is happy and blah blah blah. That's the other end. So to
Yeah. No,
find
go ahead.
yeah. Yeah, no, to find that center point, that homeostasis within that paradigm.
Hmm.
So that would be the goal. No?
No, I no, you're absolutely right because in one respect, we're totally giving up who we are in order to please other people. And
Yeah.
then in the other at the other end, we're saying I'm the only person. And so I agree with what you're saying is that finding that homeostasis between those 2 points is
Yeah.
is key.
Yeah. Yeah. So some things do like, all right. So what are all right, so now let's define what are optimal what's optimal for boundaries? Like how do we know that we're being in our optimal integrity and truth with respect to that? What does that look like, feel like?
I think it varies.
Yeah,
It varies. And okay, the things that come to mind, if you are a therapist, right?
yeah,
And you're working with a client and they're going through an emotional upheaval or they're going through a cathartic release.
yeah,
And part of you wants to go over there and hug them and make it all okay.
yeah,
But knowing that you're a therapist and they need to get things out and
yeah,
process things themselves in order to claim their power, then you kind of just let them be. But
right.
then how does that translate to mother and child?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's subjective, right?
Right. Yep.
Because I know that I'm parenting my son in a way that is personal to me, that
Hmm.
another mother would maybe treat him differently or do things differently. So, the subjectivity. Um,
Yeah. So I think we're all human first.
yeah,
And if my friend is crying and, you know, has this terrible thing happen, I'm going to be there for her.
right, right.
Yes, I'm going to put aside my needs, but I'm still who I am. I still have that homeostasis inside of me of who I am. But being
Yeah,
able to sit there and stand there and be with her
yeah.
is the choice.
So
But then I don't take in reverse. I don't take her pain on and make it my pain and affect my home. Does that make sense?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, holding your own and being in your, so you can, so this is bringing up a topic of what my friend had mentioned a very long time ago, and it really stuck with me. And it's the, and we may have, I may be repeating myself from another episode, but it was the difference between sympathy and empathy.
Hmm.
And that what he told me was, if someone had jumped in a hole, and he used the example of, if you're sympathetic, you're going to jump in the hole. Was that it? Or no, if you're empathetic, you're going to jump in the hole with them and cry with them, and now the two of you are stuck in a hole, right? But if you can hold sympathy, which has a barrier in a
No,
sense.
I think sympathy is. I think empathy is sympathy. I think is when you're in the hole with them and you make it your own.
Mm,
Or am
that's
I misunderstanding that? I could have it backwards, but I always
yeah.
thought empathy is like you can empathize with somebody, um, but not take it on.
No, yeah, I have that revert. I mean, the way that I have it is, people who are empathic,
Mm-hmm.
um by nature don't have boundaries of self, so that they take on the environment,
Mm-hmm.
and can get sucked into whatever is going on.
Okay.
Where sympathy holds a barrier and some type of veil of, I can be open-hearted and lend you a hand and help you out of that hole. Um, but I'm not gonna go crying and jump in the hole with you and have two victims.
Okay. Yeah. No, I totally get the concept. Yes.
Okay. So that was the difference for me, like, as a practitioner,
Mm-hmm.
at what point am I getting too involved with the patient? You know what I mean? And what is that line? Because and the reason why that conversation had come up at the time was because I was exhausted at the end of the day, and I had to learn that I was, recognize that I was taking on too much of the energy that I was helping, the people with, and bringing it home. So I had to, have an air of, like, a veil, so that I could be neutral and help somebody rather than sinking in with their energy.
Right.
Yeah. So that was a boundary I had to learn, that and it was my thinking of, originally thinking, like, I need to, like, suffer with them, or I need to be, I don't know what was going on, but like, I like
Mm-hmm.
take just absolutely taking it on. And and it was very helpful to have that, step back energetically, and be more of an observer to what's going on and not take it on. That was a big lesson.
Yeah. No, that's huge, and that's very difficult to do. Not many people can do that.
Yeah.
Whereas because it is okay, my voice is getting a little crunchy too.
Yeah, we need to do our
Country is
fifth
like a
chakra here.
what was that?
We need to clear our fifth chakras together.
Yeah. Who knew boundaries would be such a a crunchy subject?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
But yeah, no, that's not many people can separate themselves and the power dynamic,
Well,
between.
what's helpful is, like what you had said earlier, you mentioned earlier, like with the mother and child and stuff. It's they're learning their lesson, right?
Mhm.
Like, I'm not, if I get too involved, they're not learning anything, and neither am I. Right?
Right.
I have to practice staying in my power. Otherwise, what the hell is the point?
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
So anyway,
Because
someone,
then we
another
start
way of
trying to
saying,
control things that we can't control.
yeah, but someone has to hold their own. Like, there's got to be someone in charge, someone in their power. Otherwise, you have two victims, right? So
Right.
someone has to be in their power and in their truth. So before Emily comes on, and she may come on while we're chatting, but let's talk about the fifth chakra. Let's see why our throats are crunchy.
I'm not sure, Becky.
So So for those who are listening, the fifth chakra has to do with truth, has to do with speaking our truth, and then aligning to our will, God's will. It has to do with timing, expression. So anyway, so I'm curious. Do you want to read me and I'll read you, or it's probably the same thing?
Sure, if you'd like.
All right, all right. I'm gonna tune into your fifth chakra and see what's up. Erica. Okay. So what I heard in the fifth chakra is if I speak my truth, there will be annihilation.
Okay, let me read you now.
Okay.
No, I'm just, no, that's not avoidance at all.
So let's I want to
Wanna-
interpret this a little bit, you know, just briefly. So what I've been listening to Kyle Cease on YouTube, and he talks about breaking patterns. And if we see this as a pattern and we see that the ego does not want the pattern to be broken, if you look at it from that perspective, that the story of annihilation is actually that the ego does not want to be annihilated.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So if you look at it from that perspective, that your ego has been trying to protect you for its entire, your entire life, and it doesn't. I come from I like to approach it as, okay, there's a part of me that doesn't want to die, and yet there's a part of me that would like to be born. And so to extend gratitude to the part of you that would die if the pattern were to be shattered, that we thank it and maybe give it a new job. Like,
Mhm.
it's just a mindset of, okay, I'm just gonna change this program so that I am speaking my truth, and that the part of me that is dying is going to be transformed or transmuted into something greater, so that it doesn't feel, or it doesn't, so it still has purpose. Anyway, this is a whole story that I'm grabbing to make the ego feel loved and belong.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Oh, that's it exactly.
Okay.
So
Cool. Cool. So, I mean, I don't know how that applies to me. I don't know. If you want to look at what I got going on, it's probably some anger and rage, I'm sure.
well, there is a particular person in your life that you're not necessarily jiving with at the moment,
Okay.
and this person is, it's almost, you feel that they are an obstacle in order to, move forward. But then part of you may or may not be um, being patient and checking out your homeostasis, because that
Okay.
person that is preventing your perceived moving forward really isn't the issue.
Okay.
Does that
Okay.
sound?
Yeah, so perceive so homeostasis. This one person that maybe throws me out of homeostasis,
Hmm.
and the moving forward is just a perception. It's just basically get back into balance with this energy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, get back into balance with your energy, because part of you, um, I know you don't like to admit it or anything like that about being scared or having fear,
Yeah.
but having that blockage allows you to put that fear outside of yourself, that's the reason why I'm not here, is because this is in my way.
Oh, we need to talk later on. This is good.
Okay.
We need to talk off the records.
We can definitely do that.
Oh my God, you're hitting on something that is so good. So I don't want to I want to shift gears because Emily is on.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, welcome, Emily.
Thank you. Thank
Hi,
you.
Emily.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. So Erica was telling me a little bit about you and what, we're talking about boundaries today. And we were just chatting it up about boundaries and talking about our fifth chakras and what we need to do there. But tell us about you and how, what would you like help with?
Okay, my question involves around being an empath, which
Mm-hmm.
is really a very popular word right now. Um, but it meaning basically that we pick up certain things from other people. Sometimes it's emotions, but I'm talking about even going deeper, that we can pick up physical physical complaints from other people.
Yeah.
An example might be that when I was working, I went to work one day, I was healthy, I was fine, I was feeling great. And a lady that sits behind me came in and was sick as a dog. And within a couple hours, I was sick too.
Okay.
And I realized at that point that it wasn't just germs, that was something else that I was picking up from her.
Yeah.
And I've experienced this, as I had told Erica before, I've experienced this in doctor's offices where you go in and you're feeling pretty good and you're there for a checkup or whatever. And just being in the waiting room, I personally can feel kind of drugged down
Yeah.
and feel worse when I leave the office. So
Okay.
I think my questions are, it's a three-part thing. Is one, how do you prevent that negativity from joining your being? Um, but and while you're preventing that negativity, you're still allowing for positive stuff to come in.
Yeah.
The second thing is, how do you know when you've come down with a person comes down with something that it isn't just basically yours, but it might be something that has come from an outside source, such as this woman I'm talking about, um, which might make the healing process a little bit different because it's not mine. And the third piece is what is your suggestion for releasing what doesn't belong? What is it like I said, like with this gal that was sick? And if I can realize it fast enough, oh, wait a minute, I'm susceptible to whatever's going on. What is your suggestion for letting that go?
Okay. So I'm gonna start, Erica, you, and then I know you have your, we both want to interject, but I'll start. So
Yeah.
what my thought is right off the bat, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I am empathic and I hate that fucking word.
Yes.
Really. And the thing is that we have all been inundated with the word as an identity, and that's the problem. It's not an identity. Okay, so we can be empathic, but I would never say I am an empath. It just sounds
Okay.
you might as well be saying I am a victim.
Oh, I
Okay.
haven't, thank you. Okay, I
Yeah.
see that.
It's trendy right now and it's crap. It's spiritually trendy and it's not mature. And can you see how like crazy I am about
Oh,
it?
absolutely. And I appreciate your point of
Okay.
view.
So, with spiritual maturity, we're all connected. We all love each other on on some level, and yet we're all separate and both are true, right?
Right.
But what my sense um is that if you're going into a doctor's office and you're actually leaving with something that you didn't go in there with, your aura, my first thought is your aura probably is porous or needs some help with integrity. That think of it as skin, right? So is there
Oh,
something wrong with the skin or something out of integrity with the skin that's not protecting you, and it's most likely has to do with a belief. So I want to look at the belief because there's probably some part of you that I just find that it's belief work. Um,
okay.
a lot of, all right. So Erica, you can interject at any point. I'm going to tune in and see what the belief is that makes you so susceptible. Okay, so what I'm hearing, I would jot this down. I want to support people at the risk of my own self.
That sounds like me too.
Yeah. Right? So you see how that's a belief, and that's what I'm pulling that makes you vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, having that in, that's essentially what you're broadcasting, and that's what you're getting, right? We have that, like attracts like, you get what you put out. So that's in the unconscious that you're broadcasting. So the universe is just giving you that right back.
Okay.
So now that you can see it, I would reframe it, and I always recommend the emotional freedom technique, and just, just being consciously aware of that pattern will help to make you stronger in your aura. Let me see if there's anything else. And then my other thought to protect yourself, there's a couple of things, like Erica and I were commenting on showers, how you get all these good insights in the shower, but it's also a place for mentally creating a space where you can mentally clean your aura up. So like there's many different ways you can do that with, like, picture like gold light coming through the water, or rainbow colors, and just cleansing and letting all that stuff go down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
There's healers that have mentioned taking a bath with Epsom salt and sea salt and baking soda, all three, to cleanse
Okay.
the aura that way. And another great way to protect, I'll give you a couple besides saging, is smoky quartz, is a stone that helps you with energy that you may have picked up from other people. And there
Okay.
was another, and the Daily Energy Routine by Donna Eden.
Oh, I love that. I just don't do it all the time.
Yeah, because it sounds to me like your aura is like Swiss cheese. Let me look at the Swiss cheese for a second. Yeah, it's from that belief that I just gave you. It's the same thing.
Okay.
All right,
That's
so I gave you a lot of things. So
good.
so as we're talking, I have a big hunk of smoky quartz right in front of me, and that was recommended to me because I tend to pick up on people's energy too. Um, but I think we all do. Oh, lastly, that Hawaiian forgiveness prayer, I've been practicing that, and I would encourage you to do that every day. Are you familiar with it?
It's, I don't believe in coincidences, but I've just started working with that, with
Yes.
relationships with people.
Yeah,
Isn't that interesting?
it
Yes.
is. So like,
Ho'oponopono.
yeah, yeah. So like, for instance, like when you're in the doctor's office, start praying and get, to clear your energy fields. You're doing it for you. It's not even about others directly, but it's for you, that you say that prayer, and that will
Mhm.
attract a better outcome for everybody.
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
All right, so that was, I know it was a mouthful. I hope, what this will be recorded, but all those things. But, and I don't want to, and maybe this is my own boundary thing. I don't want people to, we were talking about boundaries, and like you have the one extreme where if we speak our truth, that, everyone else will be annihilated and destroyed, right? If you listen back to the beginning, you have that extreme. The other extreme, you have a lot of people pleasing, and you're really not in your truth, and you don't even know who you are because you're just going with the flow. And we have to find that balance. But so for me, just in me expressing what I just said about empaths, me being empathic and being a spiritual healer and blah, 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 all this stuff. And yet I fucking hate the identity because I don't feel that it's empowering. Just me saying that is like, oh my God, I'm speaking against my people.
Yeah, I can resonate with what you're saying,
Yeah.
because it's the same area, and you may have experienced this. is I have been against up until recently. I'm not against, but I just haven't spent a lot of time protecting myself.
Oh,
I do Reiki, so and those kind of things, and I don't protect myself because I have felt, or in the past I felt that if I was protecting myself, I was admitting that something could get me. Does that
yes,
make sense to you? So,
yes.
yeah, so, and now I've shifted that a little bit and said, okay, wait a minute, let's take a better look at that. Um,
Yes, I recently had a conversation with someone about that as well. I really struggle with the idea of protection because what is it? You're basically saying that the world is not safe,
right,
right? And that we need protection, and that's I know there's a fine line to dance. Yeah.
great. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Erica, take it away.
I don't know what I can add to that. That was just absolutely fabulous on so many levels.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, that was incredible.
It really was, yes. And it was totally not what I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't what I expected, that kind of thing. It was, oh, yes, okay.
Me and my mouth.
Well, I do have to point out too that your voice doesn't sound crunchy anymore.
Oh, thanks for noticing.
Rebecca had a crunchy voice.
We both, yeah, before you came on, both of our fifth chakras were getting like crunchy, and I'm like, all right, we need to address this right now.
Ah, interesting.
Definitely. So, and sometimes I kind of just want to add too, like as people that do feel a lot, and I'm not saying this is you, but just to feel love and accepted, we walk into a room and we, you know, subconsciously gauge like everybody's energy in the room because we want to feel safe. And so, but that kind of grabbing a feeling of people's energy kind of depletes our own. If we're not true in our homeostasis, then those energies that we kind of just ping on actually kind of bring us down a little bit. So when you walk into a room just owning your truth and owning who you are, not even worried about what else is going on in the room, to an extent, then that also helps with boundaries and keeping yourself in your homeostasis.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I want to add to that because you just reminded me of something else. I've been listening to this guy, Aaron. I don't know, I can't think of his last name, but he talks about the frame technique. I would definitely search that on YouTube. And what it taught me is recently, and I haven't practiced it, like he recommends doing it for like 21 days or something, but basically you're looking at a candle flame and you're breathing and you're noticing the space between you and the flame, and you're going in and out of recognizing that you're connected to all that is, and then recognizing your separation with all that is with each breath while you're looking at the flame. And to Erica's point, when we're young, and if we've had, we're naturally in a survival mode, in a theta state, and we're gathering, the experience of the, what we're experiencing as programs for the rest of our life. But if we've had um trauma of any kind, where or if the house was dysfunctional of any kind, we're going to have we're going to be in a survival mode of feeling out beyond our boundaries to try to prevent something from happening. And that's, I mean, this is how we become psychic, and or we develop our psychic abilities and develop our skills, is from childhood traumas, actually, which is a fun topic to get into. But for myself, and I'm sure Erica as well, as my throat gets crunchy. Um, but so we learn to do that, to go outside of ourselves to prevent something from happening, and then we take that into adulthood where that program is not necessarily needed. And now we want to get back into our bodies and back into knowing who we are, because it's just an outdated program that we have to become aware of, that, you know, I don't need to know what's going on in the other room with this other person. I can be with me now, right? As an
Uh-huh.
adult. So it's just another point. So the frame technique helps us to see the difference and get back into our bodies and know where our boundaries are. So I would encourage you to check that out as well.
I absolutely will, because you just answered a question I didn't even ask. So that was,
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Very
very, very good. I
Awesome.
appreciate you. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you for calling in and volunteering your time. This was absolutely wonderful. I love
I'm
having
glad. I'm glad.
people come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. You
You're
could say,
welcome.
do you have any other questions or comments?
Right now I've got a lot to digest after what you said. But yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I want to kind of soak this in.
Yes, I understand. I understand. Well, thank you again. And we'll be in touch if you need, you know where to find us.
Okay,
Yes.
yes, I have both your email addresses now.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
take
you, ladies.
care.
You
You're
have a
welcome.
good day.
Thank you. You too, Emily.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we go.
So Eric, I'm really curious to tune in, if you don't mind, like more of what you're picking up in my throat chakra. Because I think you are so onto something, and I'm like, oh my God, you just started to peel this whole pattern that,
Mhm.
across the board, I want to address.
Mhm. Okay. Well, just knowing who you are, you're a very fierce and powerful woman. And from a young age, you have had to push forward, move forward, regardless of anything that you're afraid of. You kind of became unafraid of things because you had such a strong desire and push to do what's right. And so it just appears that a part of you, are you okay with me like just kind of going
Yeah,
into
yeah, yeah. Go right in.
that? Okay. So it appears that there's a part of you when you kind of do get tired and kind of do get worn down, which we all do. We're all human. But there's even just talking to you now, it's like you have this like, no, I'm fucking not. No. But so instead of acknowledging that and that it's actually okay to kind of just be and
Mm,
just not do and not have to be this, I'm changing the world,
yeah.
that there's a part of you that puts that on other people or other situations so that it appears that you're blocked and you can't do anything.
Oh.
So so if
Okay.
ever you find yourself like, oh my gosh, there's that blockage, I can't do this, if only they did XYZ, then I'll be able to move forward. But in a way, it appears that's your way of allowing yourself to rest and relax and
Erica. Oh my God.
if that makes sense.
It's yes. It's all a distraction and an excuse because of maybe like a judgment that I have about resting and relaxing.
Yep.
Oh my God. You can see right through me. That is so cool. That's brilliant.
Oh, the gifts of
Oh
an empath.
yeah, yeah. So that is so cool. So essentially, like so I need to reframe this story and allow myself to be without the story of, oh, that, this is in the way or blah, blah, blah. Just drop the opinion or the judgments about being,
hmm Yep.
right? Okay.
Yes.
Damn. That's good.
Yeah, where it's
Mhm.
okay to just be. And patience is another one.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah, thank you so much. That was fun.
Oh no, absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime. And yeah, no, about the whole annihilation thing too with the throat. It just no, that was right on, like, you know, like ha 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 ha, you know, that nervous laughter you get.
Yeah. Yeah.
And speaking one's truth, and so, and
Huh.
being who you are, and not really caring what anybody else thinks. That's kind of huge for me right now.
Well, we have a few minutes if you want to dive into anything. No? Was that a yes or a no? No?
Let's see if maybe if I keep laughing, we could laugh until the end of the show.
All right. All right. I
Okay.
hear you. Let
I
me,
No, I got this. We're good.
okay.
We
Let me,
could totally dive in if you.
you sure? Because I was thinking, why don't we tune into spirit and see how we should be guided for the last bit of the call.
Okay, because part of me was thinking too, it might be helpful for other people to hear
Yes.
about how, um, yeah, not walking one's truth.
Yeah, let's get into that. Let me see what they say. So not walking in truth. Okay, so I heard being illusion or being an illusion is safe. So what's the opposite of illusion?
Solid, you know, that's kind of what I.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of think. Like I think of a hologram for illusion, or a belief versus truth. Or oh, okay, wait, a belief. Illusion is a belief that somebody has that's not necessarily true.
Right. Right. I love that the word ill is in the word illusion.
Ah, yes.
Interesting. So illusion is okay, safe. Okay. Let me get in. I'm going to go into your space now. Is that okay?
Yes. That's okay.
Let- Let's go. Let me see. Let me ask your spirit, what do we need to bring to light right now that will help your fifth chakra in your truth? Right? Would that be a fair statement?
That's perfect.
All right, let's see. All right, so you're showing me safety versus unsafe. What, where's that line? Yeah, you're looking to discern what is safe and unsafe. Discernment of, okay, so what is the issue? Hold on, discernment. So what if we shift into changing the belief that the world is safe?
Hmm.
If the world is safe and the world is a reflection of us, then by default, we are also safe. Yeah.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah. And then if we're coming from safety within and safety without, what is really the issue? If we go within, hold on, I'm reading this, something about within. Within what? Okay, so now we're getting on the topic of will, your self-will. Oh, you're asking the big, bold question. Who am, who am I?
Oh, is that why I started sweating? I'm gonna need another shower, Becky.
Yeah. Who am I? Well, because if we go back to boundaries, and I just gave you the example of the world within and the world without, right? Like if we're a part of the world, then like where do you begin and end? I sit here with this question all the time.
Mhm. Right.
Where do I begin and end? But yeah, you're broadcasting the question, who am I? Which is wonderful. It's very profound, and that's like shows spiritual maturity.
True. Most of my life, though, I've been thinking that. So
Okay.
I think, how would a person, okay, yeah, delve into figuring out that the answer to that question
Okay. Well, all right, let me
for
see.
our listeners, of course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna tune into the guides and see what they say about that question, who am I? Okay. So I think what I'm hearing is you're going to know who you are based on how you feel. That's going to be your guiding light. Based on your feelings, that will be your that's your inner compass or navigation system. So that will let you know, quote unquote, what's good and what's bad. So now so as its own, think of a blind person, right? Like if we
Mhm.
all were to be blind and we just had to feel around, we would just move towards what feels good and avoid what feels bad. And that would let us know who we are and what our sense of self is.
Knowing and trusting your inner self
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and making decisions upon what you know to be true of who you are.
Yeah, by those feelings that come up. So the feelings are the navigation system.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have to, so the trust piece would come in because if it feels bad, that doesn't necessarily mean automatically that we're going to run from it.
Right. And also, I think it's important to distinguish too, because sometimes when we do feel like something might feel bad, isn't necessarily bad, it's just fear.
Right.
Because with the
Right.
reptilian brain, you have that fight or flight where it's like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of here. This is a dangerous situation.
Right.
Then sometimes you may get those um, instances where it's like, it could be as simple as, oh, you know what? Do I want to go, to this party? And you may get a hit like, oh, something bad might happen. But you end up going anyway and realize that it was just your fear of getting out there, of the unknown, and you have an amazing time. I've had people talk to me about that. So,
Yes. Yes. So how do you know, let me think.
yeah, distinguishing between what is dangerous, what is fear, like what do you push through?
Right. So I think that there's three major energy centers that I like to focus on and tune in with. And I think that would help like people that are listening to know whether it's an actual fear, like something worthy of listening to, or whether it's BS.
Mm-hmm.
The fear place is usually going to come from the head as the one energy source or one focal point. And then you have two other focal points. You have the heart and then you have the gut, right? So
Yep.
tuning into all three, if you were to say, gee, should I do blah, 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 or blah, 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 and if the fear is coming from the head, we can just assume that that's crap. Okay? Because that's its job. It's like, no, I have to protect you and blah, blah, blah. But if you're feeling that fear in your solar plexus, in the gut or the heart, I would listen to that. And maybe that even needs more discernment, but I always rule out the head because that's the easy go-to reptilian stuff.
Right. But it also can be a good way to help analyze any given situation.
Yeah, yeah, I don't want to.
But
So
no,
the
I totally get what you're saying. Like if you're trying to rationalize something to the nth degree, then yeah,
yeah,
totally throw that out.
yeah,
But if you're
yeah.
trying to rationalize or if you're trying to work and heal because you've had trauma in your life and you have trust issues, but yet, hey, I want to go to this party, it's like you could rationalize in a way that, okay, I know I have trust issues, so I'm going to go to the party. And yes, I'm going to be afraid, but I'm going to go to the party anyway because
Yeah.
this is me claiming my power and who I am. And boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, and just to swing back to what we said earlier, if the mind is doing that and it's trying to protect us from a past event that you survived, and that's all it's doing, to thank it and say, thank you so much for trying to protect me from that event that happened 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm good. I'm really good. And you're doing a great job and
Yeah.
and and talk to it with love. See, thank you so much. I'm gonna go to the party and thank you for protecting me 30 years ago and for all the years that I've been alive, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And talking about a party is like in its simplest form. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I totally get what you're saying. If it's usually the mind trying to analyze, you know, okay, should I go? Should I go? Why this and that and da 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 da? Like if you're just going off the deep end with it, then yeah,
Right.
it's like no, go back to the heart and gut, and then usually
Yeah.
come into alignment with that.
Right. Because so the analytical mind that's coming from the left brain, and that's the logical side, but it's not the whole story. It's only overanalyzing, or that is problematic in itself, and it can cause paralysis in a sense, in extreme situations.
Yes.
But yeah. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in.
Wonderful day. What a wonderful
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, I really like this topic. I'm so thankful that Emily came on, and I hope I didn't overwhelm her, because I know that I have a habit of doing that. And I thank you, Erica, for all your lovely insight. It was very refreshing to hear.
Oh,
Um,
and thank you too, Rebecca. This has just been absolutely fabulous. And
oh,
the way you identify things and just right on the nose and just boom. And you're kind of no nonsense. You know what? Like, let's just get this done. Let's go.
let's go.
Love that.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we don't know what we're going to do next. For those listening, we will let you know. As far as the topic or what, I have no idea. But thanks for tuning in, and I don't know, until next time.
Yes. Until next time, number 7.